and it says X has started.
Will you get the chat from X?
I don't know how. I'll be honest. I don't know how it works. Wait, well, where are we? Where is it? Finding the link on X. That's the YouTube one. That's the YouTube one. Hello, hello. If you can hear us, I've got to start. I've got to press. I've just. The Rumble stream's failed. I think. Are we on YouTube?
Yeah.
We're on YouTube.
Yep.
We're on YouTube. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if we're live on X. Live. It says we're live. It says we're live on X.
Masuku says good evening. So hello, Masuku.
What is Masuku listening through?
Well, there I've got through YouTube. I was just on, so I can see him through YouTube saying good evening.
Okay, right. So yeah, we are. Yeah, actually,
well, there I've got through YouTube.
It's working. I've got the chat up on Twitter as well, so I will flick back and forth. But
you need one of those overlays which you can get, like it basically picks up everybody's chat in one go.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look at it. I will. But yeah, we're live on X. Many of you probably haven't ever heard this show before. It's a gaming conversation with friends, but don't always expect gaming, because we talk about a variety of different things. We do on this show. Yep, we're toast, beans on toast. Most things. Welcome to Masuku, as you say, as well. But VJ will be joining us at some point.
He's getting his blend of cup of tea correct. He has to, let it ferment to the correct temperature.
Been on a bit of a break because I can't really. The kids are off school and I can't really do it because they don't like to sleep when they're on holiday. They don't.
When do they?
Well,
do kids sleep anyway? I've got 3 kids myself, so I know exactly.
I know that's mainly why I couldn't do it anymore, because it was just getting too difficult, because they were just still up, bouncing off the walls, But
I see. My kids are in bed at 7 o'clock on the dot.
On the dot. Wow.
On the dot. I'd be witness, because it's one of the things that me and the missus kind of agreed on early on. It's like, make sure the kids at 7 o'clock on the dot from babies.
Yeah.
And then it's less of a problem later on in life.
Yeah, that might have been a good idea for me, but
it's one of those things you set up the boundary early on, and then as the ones got older, we go, right, you can have another extra half hour. So it's like 7:30. And that's the little bit, because yeah, we just knew it was also to try and ensure that, like, me and the missus would have spare. If you have time with each other,
I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm just looking over on Rumble because the Rumble stream's failed. I don't know why, but I'll have to upload it after. No idea what happened.
As I said, it could be a buffer.
Yeah.
It all depends. You go through OBS, so
yeah. It's never. I'll upload it after anyway. I'll fix it for next week, because I'll be honest, I haven't really. I'll talk all about it, because obviously everyone knows I've been on a health journey over the past, since the 1st of August. I've been on, because obviously I don't know if this is for people that haven't listened to the podcast before. In 2020, I broke my knee, tibia and fibia. I couldn't walk for 3 months, so after the 4th month I could walk. And then obviously, when you say you're going to sort your life out and lose weight, etc. Well, I didn't. I did to start with, but you've got to be in the right frame of mind, etc. Really dialed in. And eventually, this year, I then decided to slip over at the bottom of my garden and break my knee again, but the kneecap this time. And luckily, it was an ordeal, like always, because I was a big chap. Well, I'm a lot smaller now. A lot of people have commented, like, in going back on the school run and that I've lost a lot of weight. You can see it, and that was quite bad. So yeah, the goal is I was at 26.5 stone, which isn't good for anyone. It wasn't really good. and I am down to. I said everyone on Twitter I was 20, but I got it wrong. I got a different pair of scales, and it was wrong. So I'm probably 21.5 stone to be accurate, but I made a mistake. But it happens with different scales. But I don't think I'm far off getting to 20 in the 20 zone. I've been really enjoying it. Going to the gym, the fitness side of it, getting the steps in. Like, well, welcome to Daz, and yeah, UK Dazarus, welcome. And I got a not Fitbit because I was using Fitbit watches, but they are not very good for actually tracking your heart rate, believe it or not. The one I had was crap, so I'm using the Galaxy equivalent. I am, which is quite good. It really does track your heart rate. It tracks everything actually, nearly. And yeah, everything's going well. I'm building. Although everyone says, "Oh, you should do more cardio," that I'm actually losing quite a fair bit of weight just by using weight training, because it's quite intense the stuff I do. I don't go too heavy, obviously, but I have over the weeks gained a lot of strength basically, and learning the proper way. But obviously, so no, it's not bad going really since the 1st of April. I've lost, well, basically jumped down from 26.5 to 21.5 stone. So it's not really bad. It's all right. As long as I carry on, and yes, there's loads of ventilation is needed, as Daz is saying, because Pesty Baby would say that too. If he
basically
was in chat.
It's just maintenance and consistency.
Well, it is maintenance, but I'm actually still want to go down a lot further. The goal's 19 stone at the minute. I want to go down a lot further than that. But just got to consistency is a thing I'm very good with going to the gym. I'm very consistent at going to the gym, and I mean, basically, I only drink water now. Really, I don't drink alcohol. I actually went to the pub twice in the past couple of weeks. I didn't even. I had soft drinks. I'm not saying that's contribute. I'm not.
Sugar.
Well, there you go. It was a treat then. There you go. It was a treat. There you go.
Look, there's nothing. Yeah. What the iron at the point of any exercise, as someone who used to weight train quite heavily as a young person, the point of exercise is something that is maintainable in the long term. Just saying, right, that's it. I'm gonna cut it. It's like that's it. I'm gonna cut out alcohol, and then all of a sudden you fall back on yourself and make a mistake, and then you punish yourself, and then you fall back on yourself, and you punish yourself. No, maybe just cut down to more manageable, and slowly do it over like many years.
Yeah.
It's the people who the worst ones are the ones who go, right, I'm just going to go complete cold turkey to everything, to food, to diet, to stuff like that, and it never lasts. It's a never long-term
obviously,
it's a slow.
I'm on a diet, obviously, but I don't call it a diet. It's just lifestyle change. But no, I don't cut everything out because it won't. But it's it's working because I'm losing. So whatever I'm doing is working. I'm not like.
The idea is generally is that you're supposed to whatever intake you should be whatever intake you're having in terms of calories, the idea is that you're burning off more than you intake on a regular basis.
It must be that, because
that actually can be a bit dangerous, because your body then reacts to the fact that you're losing so much of an intake, and so what it does is it then goes into a storage mode and stores. So it goes, right, you're not eating as much. That means, i.e., you're starving yourself. Quick, hold on to that sort of calories, and that can take up to about 6 to 8 weeks before that body starts to realize, no, actually, this is just the new set food intake. So I think that's look at 6 to 8 weeks and different phases. So if you've decided to cut your portion size down, it will take 6 to 8 weeks before your body will fully react. Same thing with working out. It will take about 6 to 8 weeks, and it's going to be pips and drop, highs and lows, effectively, when it comes to your body. And it's also to do with the weather. I know this sounds a bit weird, but in the winter, you're going to store more than, say, in the summer.
Yeah.
Just the way your body kind of has learned through years and years and years of training and DNA to kind of work around the climate that it's based in, and it takes time. It's not a 5-minute task. So the thing is I suppose the one thing I always say is when you're doing any training or you're doing weightlifting, don't look at it as failure, or don't look at it as things going wrong. Just look at it as a continuous journey. In that regard, it's going to change. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. You're going to have good months. You're going to have bad months. The idea is then consistency, and if you can keep going, continuing, you'll be fine. But the generally is, don't worry about the day-to-day or even the week-to-week sort of scenario. Just look at going, right, okay, this is going to be part of my routine from now on.
Well,
So
yeah.
anything like brushing your teeth, it's a routine. It's a mindset. And that's it. It's just a mindset. You're refreshing your mindset and locking that in.
It's a whole different mindset I've got. I mean, because a lot of it's to do with I don't want to break my knee again, but obviously it's not. Well, put it this way, right? For my job, like the job I'm in, we joke that I sit in the van all day. I don't, but it's made my job a lot easier. Like from the mobility perspective, for me going up ladders.
A couple of tips for the lads now, can't you?
Lads, it's just me and my dad. No, no one's ordered around. He orders me around. But no, it's from like doing the actual jobs because you have to go up ladders into lofts, etc. I very rarely ever step into the loft. I use wires and various bits I don't do that. But mobility wise, it's become a lot easier because I think it's someone told me, worked it out, something like a few bags of cement's come off me. Now that's a bloody lot of weight.
Yeah, you're thinking about so.
You know what I mean?
3 kilo. You normally have bags of cement range from 1 to 5 kilograms.
No, bags of cement are usually about 20 kg.
Yeah, that's what I said. Your bags. So that's what I said. You're 1 to 5. You could normally have the 3 kilogram bags. It depends on what size you are, but generally you're like if you're doing plastering, you're effectively carrying about 3 to 4 bags of cement on your body.
Yeah, and it's just made a great difference in life in general. Yeah,
it is. It's gonna help with your breathing. It's gonna help with your muscle movement. That weight is gonna be also easier to move around, sort of thing. But as I said, don't think of it as chasing numbers. To be honest with you, the people who lose, the ones I found that lost the weight the most, didn't care about the weight they were losing. They didn't care about the numbers.
Yeah, because they say that a lot of it.
Then
you can look in the mirror, can't you? You can look in the mirror, can't you? And like say, well, because some weeks I have had weeks where I haven't really lost weight, but then you look at yourself and like a bit more muscles appeared, and that's what's happened.
Well, exactly. And the thing is also, if you're chasing a number and it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, you can then flip yourself and kind of, well, I'm just going to eat something, or you fall down, or you fall back into a bad state of mind. So in a way, it's better not to focus on numbers and just keep focusing on the procedure of doing the momentum, and the numbers will come as time goes on. It's sometimes the numbers can be a downfall for you, because if you don't hit the targets that you want to hit, that you mentally have set, then you can go, it can make you depressed. It can kind of
I know, because a lot of the goals I set, like 19 stone, it wasn't by a date. It just said it was I'd like to hit 19 stone. There's no set.
I wouldn't even worry about the date. I wouldn't even worry about 19 stone. Just say, okay, I want to keep doing this for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Don't think about it as in terms of what the weight.
It's like a recreational thing, because I do actually enjoy it. Even though when I'm in the gym, if you see any photos of me, I'm never smiling, but I don't smile in the gym. I don't.
Well, who's smiling as you're lifting pounds?
Well, there's a lot of people. Well, there is a lot of people. I know most people don't smile when they're lifting. No, that's correct.
Exactly. You're too busy focusing on your technique and the focus on the weights themselves, focusing on how you move, position yourself. Because as someone who's weight trained myself, you drop those weights, you can hurt yourself quite badly.
Oh,
I know because I have.
Have you?
I've got yeah.
Bloody hell.
Until I was about 35, I was very, very thin and very, very muscular, and I was pushing around 100 kilograms weights, and my weight myself was about 9.5 stone. And I was pumping about 100 kg.
Oh, okay.
So my body frame was very different than it is now. It's just I've got what I classify as the dad bod now because I've just kind of the kids came first and I stopped kind of working out. But I've got I had the six pack, and my arm went one day and the two top triangles, I can't think what they're called. I cut one of them in half because the bar dropped and literally cut the muscle in half. So I've actually got almost like a 7-pack because the muscle has been cut in half. Trust me, it's better to go slow and steady. Take your time, and do all that stuff.
I don't ever want to get to that weight. No. 9 stone. It's never going to happen. To be fair, I've got a big frame anyway. I know I'm never going to be skinny. Do you know what I mean?
To be honest with you, the one thing that always makes me smile is the doctors when they say, "Oh, your BMI," because currently
bollocks, isn't it? A lot of it is.
Always absolutely. So I was always below my BMI. I was always underweight. And about 2 years ago, as my doctor says, "Oh, your BMI, it's perfect. It's at the perfect weight to your BMI." And I had never felt more unhealthier. I was struggling to breathe. I was put a lot of weight around my stomach, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm severely overweight. I think I was about 14 stone, and it was like, no, this is not right for my BMI. So your BMI is very much an individual thing. Trust me,
I've heard a lot of experts in the business, and they say, "Oh, NHS, a lot of their advice is terrible. The BMI system's terrible too."
The BMI is an average system. It's based on an average because everybody's an individual. So therefore, how do you classify what is healthy and what's not? So your average for you is going to be vastly different from someone, say, who's 5 foot. It's
because I'm 6'3". It's different, but it's weird though because I train a lot.
But it's also bone structure. You can have a very thin 6-foot person, but you can also have a very muscular 6-foot person.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like when I train my brother. My brother isn't much smaller than me in height, but it's very strange when it comes to me getting on weight kit. We have to have it set all differently because I think he said to me my frame's a lot bigger. In my body, so it's very. There's not really much difference.
Your structural is the biggest dictator of your structural frame. Ironically, and this is something I found out in Thailand actually, it's your collarbone. It is the pivot of your entire structure is your collarbone. That determines how your body is going to get bigger in terms of weight. So it's one things also for the ladyboys out there, and Daz will know this because he's a ladyboy fan, is that one of the things you can change pretty much everything about your body. You can shave muscles and shave bones. The one thing you cannot do is change your collarbone because it's the pivotal point of your entire frame. And so, for instance, when I started weight training, I get very wide chested, very wide, very quickly. And it's just because I've got a longer collarbone. My brother, on the hand, has a smaller collarbone, so he gets more what I would classify as more muscular elsewhere. So it's again, it's your body structure and the way your body is a very different per individual. So as I said, the best advice I would ever give is forget numbers and just think about it as consistency. Think about it as it's now part of your routine. Think so. You going to the gym is the same thing as doing your brushing your teeth. Just think about it like that. That's the best way. And then whenever you'll be surprised because you're not stressing about it. It's another thing. If you're not stressing about it, you won't stress eat or stress worry. Your body will then naturally just keep getting better and better. So
I don't stress about going to gym. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first time that I went to this one, because they used to be at a smaller premises, but then there was a growing demand, so there was some new buildings come up, and he leased them. He remembered me from last time, and it's a lot. There's a lot of fitness influencers that go there too, and they're like not famous ones, but a lot of people like to record content. Like I don't know if I've put the video up with.
Nothing personal.
But they don't aim anything at you ever. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
I think it should be banned.
But it's nothing. It's nothing like what. Yeah, it's nothing like what you see on anything like that.
Oh, I know.
They're all very respectful. Do you know what I mean? They make sure that you know.
No, I don't think it should be part. It's if you're there to work out, fine. Yeah. If you're there, anything else.
A lot of people do take videos though for not to put online. I know I put a couple of videos here and there. I don't know if I have. But my brother, he gets me to record him, and he's not because he's going to put it online. When he's doing it, it's to check that he's actually doing it correctly and what his back looks like. Yeah, it's a bit difficult where some of the stuff is actually situated. You can't get a full view properly, and that's what a lot of them do it for. It is.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, it's if you're focusing in the mirror, it's also reflecting you're not focusing on your body. So what you should be doing, and a good gym person will tell you, is not to be looking in. You should be focusing. You should be looking at your arm movements with your own eyes, not in a mirror. You should be focusing on that, not the thing. Generally, you're probably. I tell you, I'm just one of the guys who's firm believers. Like phones shouldn't be in swimming pools. They shouldn't be in gyms. They literally just like no.
Well, I use them for my music. I do.
You can get yourself an iPod.
Yeah,
it's don't get me wrong. It's just it's whenever time I was, it just got silly. It just got silly when I was going to the gym, and so I was like, that's why if I'd ever decide to go back to going to a gym, I don't think I would. I'd probably do a separate home gym.
To be fair, I have actually got loads of weights I could do at home, but I haven't done
exactly.
But because obviously the company is paying for the gym, so it's actually free for me. But it is a good gym, so I'm getting on well. But yeah, it's all going well. But yeah, you are right, Daz. When you stop training, it soon disappears.
Well, that's it's one of the. It's because your body's in a. It's literally your body is being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, which is one of the things. It's like. The moment you make it part of a routine, it doesn't matter. Like, think Daz, he walks miles. It's part and parcel of his routine. He's not going to stop walking because it's part of his job. So as part of my partner, she's a nurse. She's moving around 24/7. She's moving. So it's the same thing. You've got to try and set up something that's going to be a consistent activity. That you can just kind of forget that you're doing it. It's just part and parcel of your day routine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't go every day. I usually get to the gym 4 times a week, so that's usually good enough. But I don't do it every day. But you can't, because when I do leg days, it's it can. Well, Masuku has many chats with me about his leg days, and he struggles to walk back from the gym.
Trust me, that man's a giant. I wouldn't be so.
I would love to do it.
He didn't have chicken legs. I tell you, when I saw him,
I would love to have a gym session with Masuko. Me and Stubz, leg day. I reckon. We compared notes on weight numbers. Bless him. He's not in my ballpark, but I'm quite bigger. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're a bigger person, yeah, it's going to be
but it's not all about weight. It's all about form. I'm very careful, obviously, because I broke my knee twice, so I have to be careful. It's like a leg press. It's not that impressive, Masuko. I can stack the machine when I want to, but it's because you're laying down basic. Now you asked me to do that on the Smith or the free weight squat. No chances that happening. Do you know what I mean? I can probably do the bars 20, so 20, 60, 70 kg probably on with the bar. And you're supposed to include the bar, aren't you, with that? Because the bar does weigh 20, probably 60, 70 on the squats. But also, free weight, I worry more. I usually on the Smith.
The same thing with any weights. You shouldn't be going to the most extreme.
Yeah.
What you should be doing is you should be doing more reps with a lower weight.
I do that a lot.
A lower weight will give you a better output than a heavier weight and smaller reps.
I do that as well.
Don't get me wrong, you can move up, but it really should be.
I have to have it a bit higher because sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing it. I do.
But then that's the thing. You're not, by the sounds of it, then you're not training. So the way I used to train was that the moment, so I set myself a number. The moment I was hitting 50 reps, 3 sets of 50 reps.
Wow.
I knew I need to move over.
Oh, right. Wow.
That's the point where it's like, then I need to move to the next stage.
Yeah.
Because what it is, you're then, if you keep doing it, if you keep whack up your 10, whack up your 20.
I really do 3 sets of most things, and then I move on. I do.
But if you're doing like 3 sets of 5 and you think, oh, I should move on to another one now, that really isn't helping your body because you are more reps does seem to work better for most people's bodies at a lower weight than just say, pushing your body to the extremes. It's one of the reasons I got up to 100 kilograms when I was quite young. And it was like, my frame was very skinny, and then people were like, look at me, it's like, how the hell it's literally because I was getting stronger and stronger. I was getting my body stronger to maintain and be able to hold those weights rather than just keep pushing yourself to the limit, to the maximum.
There we go. Very true. VJ's entered the room. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Carry on. So then I can
get yourself a cup of tea. The cream's gone.
We just had a kiwi actually.
Ooh. The kiwi as the fruit or kiwi as a person?
Kiwi fruit.
But no, it's I'm enjoying it. It's helped me a lot mentally, mental health wise, and all that. It's been it's good. I believe oddly though, I love to sweat. I do. It's weird. It's a weird saying.
It's the same thing with anything. It's because it's kicking off endorphins and stuff. So
well, I do take things to kick it off even more, fat burners, but but that makes me sweat even more.
Is that you've chosen that, or the doctors have gone?
No. I've been taking them since I started. I like.
Be careful with those. Yeah. I'm just going to be polite and say be careful with those. Yeah. I've seen too many people who take too many supplements.
Oh,
and it's
not
detrimental. It can also be equally detrimental. The best way I would recommend is, instead of supplements, prefer to go with natural supplements like fruit, something like that. Get those supplements through food rather than through tablets, because what your body does start to do, then it starts to kind of, same with anything, it starts to kind of rebel against sometimes with the supplements.
I don't know. Seems to work. It's not strong ones, because I took ones that were far too strong, and I come off them because I was getting moody in that, and I went back down to the lower ones, and they're fine.
As I said, it will play havoc with your hormones. It'll play havoc.
The £50 ones did. Yeah, I had to come off them. That was ridiculous. I felt like, to be fair, my heart rate was getting that high. I thought, fucking hell, I might have an heart attack. I'm on the normals again. It's perfectly fine. I am.
No, for me, I never used supplements. Never did. If I was supplement, it might be an extra portion of fruit or veg.
To be fair,
that was the best way for me, because it was the end of the day. I saw a friend of mine who used supplements, and his gain was phenomenal. And then he had an accident.
Was it supplements or was it injections?
No, it was supplements, because he didn't do injections.
Oh, okay.
He was training to he was training to do it's not bodybuilding, but it's the one where you show off your strongman.
No, because I know someone that's doing it. He placed second recently. It's all about the way you look, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I can't think what it's
You
called.
do the
Basically,
different
to his
poses,
shows,
etc.
Yes.
You do.
So it's not about that. It's not about the big mass of muscle. It's how the muscle looks, and he was using supplements to try and ensure that his muscle definition was at its peak performance.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it screwed him over. It really
Yeah.
did screw him over in the long term, because it was one of those things that it was the side effects and counteractions to it that kind of he didn't realize until he'd taken it for numerous years that had effects. Yeah, so I'd always recommend just clarifying your supplements with your doctor, because that could also have an impact on your bone bone rehabilitation as well. I would recommend just double checking.
You
If
really
he said
think
it's fine,
you
it's
really
fine.
think that you can go to the doctors and actually say, "I need you to check my supplements for me"?
Well, you can ask.
Yeah, the medical practice I go to would tell you to kindly way to F off. They would.
Well, well, your doctor should have told you when you had your accident. It's like, these are things that you need to kind of make sure you're deficient in.
No,
These are things you're
never got
deficient
nothing. Got nothing.
That's not a good sign, because generally they'll generally tell you if they've done bloods or anything. They'll
They
tell
just
you
told me I
your
was
deficiency's
basically
like.
needed to lose a load of weight. Really?
Yeah, that's a fucking easy thing. That's one of the things that are just like.
Well, to be fair, I couldn't argue. Really, I agreed.
No, but it's one of the things that they should also double check, because if they should do, at least doctors I have often do, is they will do your blood tests and they'll say you're deficient in this, you're deficient in that, you need a little bit of an extra here, a little bit of extra there to maintain this nice thing. Generally they don't. Supplements is. I'm always dubious about supplements.
Well, I understand.
I've never seen them, and I've seen the horror stories. That's the thing. I think that's why it's probably put me off.
That's fair enough.
So I would just say, maybe just, if your doctor's not going to do it, find some. You can't find a doctor. Can you? At least double check the negative effects.
Okay, I will.
That's all I would. And what I can say is, if you want that, if you look at the supplements that you're asking for, you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
See if you can get those supplements in your fruit and veg.
Doesn't
mean you have to extra portion of, I don't know, hazelnuts, or extra portion of.
I don't know. It makes me sweat. That's the thing. It's got. You know what I mean? So.
But that's what I'm saying is, you can still make it. You can still find those supplements.
It pumps you up a bit.
Natural...
It pumps you up a bit for the gym, basically. It does.
Yeah. But that might be great for that gym, but what's the side effects long term? That's the thing you've got to do. Is it putting too much stress? Is it putting too much stress on your heart?
It feels just like having an energy drink, really. To be honest, that's what
And energy drinks aren't brilliant for you either.
Oh, I know that. I'm just saying that gives you a bit of a boost. That's all. You do.
But I'm saying you can get natural food to give you boosts. The one I use is a lot of nuts for boost. It's a weird. Yeah, nuts really seem to help me push harder. And apricots.
I'll look into it. Thanks for that. I will. But
yeah, if you can do it naturally, I would always say try and do it naturally. It's the best way to kind of, and also it just means your body filters all the other stuff out a little bit quicker. Yeah. Plus, also with the fruit and the veg that you're trying to supplement, it'll give you benefits elsewhere. So it will also say it's not just going to be your zinc or something. It might help else on other elements which you may be lacking in. So it might be doing more than you realise elsewhere.
Yeah, I'll do some research. I will.
Always a good sign. Always good to kind of I've just look after it. That's what I said. I only say it because I've seen some of the horrors. That's why I'm like.
Yeah.
But
I'll look into it. Cheers for that. But BJ, how are you doing?
I'm good.
It's been a while. It has.
Yep. You've been on strike, haven't you?
Yeah, it's the kids, you see.
In the month of August.
Well, they're back at school now, you see, so it always great the first 2 days they went back. It was like Thursday and Friday, and like you went upstairs, and it was like, you know how kids sleep where the mouths are open, they're catching flies. It's like they were absolutely shattered. I was like, yes.
Your kids are back already?
Yeah, my kids were back last week, Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, mine's this Thursday.
Yeah, see, what happens is we break up before most of the kids in the country.
So you get a week early. And you
what
get
it
back
is, what it is the finishing. The school they go to, the finishing times. What they do is they're like the last school in the town. They finish the last out of all of them, and they add all the times up. You see, and it ends up with a week extra. That's what they do because they're an academy. They can do that, and yeah. So we broke up back in. Oh, I can't bloody remember now. I know I went straight on holiday. It's when I went on holiday. Probably July. But it was. Well, broke up on the Friday, but we actually didn't take them to school on the Friday at all. Just took them. But I just emailed them to say, yeah, have a good summer. The kids ain't coming in today. That was it. Didn't hear no more about it. They knew what we would do. A lot of people could take the kids last day. Yeah, do you know? But yeah, kids do buy a lot of energy drinks. Correct. That's why they brought in the rules, but they can still get them drinks despite the IU25 thing. They still get someone to buy it for them. They do, because it's like I tried what is it? That bloody I tried Prime Energy, not Prime Water, Prime Energy, and I tell you what, Monster, not bad, right? Obviously bad for you, but I'm just going to do a comparison here. Wow, Prime Energy, I took the can away. It blew my bloody head off. The amount of power in that can. I reckon I looked into it. It was like the equivalent of 2.5 cans of Monster or more. It was ridiculous.
If you want caffeine, get yourself a proper Italian coffee maker, where they're like toddlers' teacups amount of caffeine.
Oh, what they're mocha chocolates or whatever you call it? Mocha chocolate. Where's Luke? Luke was correcting me.
Yeah. My mate's Italian, and I'll tell you what, if you ever have one of his Italian coffees, they literally look like there's a toddler's cup. Because he passed it to me, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Is that why the gym's got a coffee bar then after? Is that why? Do some people have a coffee before they go gym then, or something? They sell coffee. I don't see them selling much coffee though, ever. I don't.
It blows your mind. Honestly, I had it's this little toddler's cup of coffee, and I was buzzing for the whole day. It's the Italian coffee. Yeah, they don't have like your mugs of coffee because they don't need it. They've got these little shots of coffee that are just so heavily caffeinated, and generally actually much better for you anyway because it's done by the beans. It's not loads of other chemicals. Yeah, if you want something to make you buzz, try a proper Italian coffee.
Oh, that's fair enough.
It will knock you for 6.
That is, but yeah, thanks. They don't sell them to under 15s. I think isn't it 18 to buy an energy drink now? Is it? Is that right? 18? You got to look.
It depends. It depends on the drink, isn't it?
Energy drinks. I thought they were blanket on 18 only, but this was the thing the shops brought in, wasn't it? To start with, all the supermarkets, Asda, etc., all did it, and then all the shops copied them, and the government went, "Oh, okay. We'll roll this out then. We'll make this the rule." And they did. I'm pretty sure it's 18 for all energy drinks that are classed, not prime water, because that's classed as a hydration drink, but actual ones that are actually called energy.
I don't know. I'm not. Again, I don't really touch them, to be honest with
you. Hang on. Luke appeared. I said that would happen. Did you mean espresso?
No, I was supposed to say, I don't know.
Explain it to Luke, because he might know what you're talking. He's a coffee connoisseur.
I said it's an Italian. It's a mate of mine's Italian. He makes these very small, tiddly little shots of coffee, and they just blow me away. I was like, Jesus Christ. And maybe that's what it's called, but it's not like the espresso that you would get from
Costa,
Starbucks. This is it's like a little toddler's cup. It's like a little toddler's teacup. And he's got a little bit of caffeine in there, and those things are just, yeah. I was buzzing for the entire day on that bloody thing. Because he said you only have one.
Well, I'll tell you what, I like the sound of this.
Right.
I don't like coffee, but if it gives you that much, that's. I bet you Luke knows what you're talking about. If it's a small, where is it? If it's a small shot of coffee in a tiny glass, then that's an espresso.
Yeah, it's not like what I'm saying. It's not like your what's it called? It's not like your Costa though, because I've tried the espressos in Costa, and this thing was just like. I suppose I could describe it as it's like a tar, almost like a tar sort of coffee, and you drank it, and it's like Jesus. I was buzzing for like for about 8 hours. Like, this thing is like, but then he said he's Italian, so he knows how to make it properly. So I think so. Yeah. But yeah, if you're into caffeine.
Luke is. I know Luke's a connoisseur of coffee. Dad says fuck tea. Well, and I drink. Well, I don't really. I don't. But if you were to say coffee or tea, I had to have one. It'd be tea.
I don't drink tea or coffee. To be honest with you, no. I used to drink a lot of coffee, but I've kind of cut down.
Luke said it's probably either a double shot or a darker roast of beans. He's showing his skill now, his knowledge.
My gut probably, it's probably, I mean, this guy, he's got his own specialised, coffee maker, and he's like, as you say, so this is what they every Italian has one. And it's like, he says, I'll make you a proper coffee, and he's like, all right, fine, yeah, I don't care. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Hello, Web Dave. Thanks for coming in, mate. BJ, sorry, how I got sidetracked there. How's things?
Yep, all good.
How's the weather over
there? It's actually been okay. It's going to be. I think we've got about 3 or 4 days of temperature hitting about 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the next by the weekend. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
That's all right. And our temperatures have gone really weird, like 17, 18 degrees, but it's gone really muggy. Well, it has here anyway. It's sticky. I don't know. It's annoying.
It's the humidity. Yeah, our humidity's kind of gone there. So anything. It's a weird one. It's sort of just a dry heat, or it's a.
Yeah, it's been a really. Just so you know, it's been a really crap wasp season so far. Really rubbish. I mean, done about 100 wasp nests. It's really rubbish this year. The wasps are down generally. It's annoying. But it is what it is. Last year was serious. Last year there was hundreds. We did probably 100 in a week last year. But rubbish wasp year. Because every bug has its. There's a load of bollocks about this, that, and the other. But every bug has its year, and the cycle eventually goes down. Then usually the year after it starts to bounce back. It does. They'll probably be pissing people off again like no tomorrow. But what I find really funny, the UK media loves bees. Everyone loves bees, and I don't disagree with them. But usually the media takes to slagging the wasps off. Oh, the evil bastards and all this, that, and now they suddenly all care about them. They're all writing articles saying how great they are and everything. Well, the past 5 years, you've been slating them.
It's because generally you've got to realise the ecology of.
Oh, trust me, next year they will be just slagging them off again. They'll forget about all what they said.
Well, it's the ecology of the insect world. They forget that certain things are required to maintain balance.
Oh, I agree. Although I do destroy nests, it's for public health. It's for safety. It's like I don't go around the forest in a backpack looking for them. It's if sort of causing someone serious danger in their home.
No, you're more.
That's when it's public health
with a backpack.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Web Dave. But no, I haven't. I'll be honest. I haven't really been gaming. I haven't at all. So
we noticed you don't talk about it anymore. You've basically gone from PC Master Race to kind of
Yeah, pest control geek. Yeah. I'm
Book Master Race.
Well, yeah, I read books and listen to books and study. I'm studying.
You listen to books. What do books say to you then?
It's called Audible. I listen to audiobooks. I'm reading a book from I don't know if you watched. Did you ever watch?
Reading or listening?
Did this particular one? Did you ever watch The Apprentice? Did you ever watch the one with? Do you remember the pest control guy, Mark Mosey?
Or UK?
UK. Mark Mosey was on it. He was a pest control. Yeah, he sent me a copy of his book signed, and I'm reading that at the minute because I speak to him. He runs a pest control company in London. He's a nice bloke. Not met him yet, but I'm reading his book. It's a basic book for the public, but he sent me a free copy of it. He didn't make it to make money though. He told me. He says it's the best thing Guy on The Apprentice ever did for his business. It's like, why is that?
I'm surprised. Why?
Yeah, but he said though, since even though he didn't win, he's had no end of celebrity clients and won contracts, and he wrote this book. And he says a lot of companies picked his company because he wrote a book. And he says I didn't write the book to make money. He says I wrote the book to be different. And it worked, but yeah, I've been reading all sorts of pest control stuff, which is boring to most people, but I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I have games downloaded. I just need to try them. It's
get past the tutorial.
Yeah, get past the loading screen and actually press start. Won't be help. Like last night, I was going to play Black Ops 6 later.
You fell asleep, didn't you?
No, I just didn't. I just didn't play it. I just left it on the loading screen. I've just got to I will get back into it. I don't know. It's a bit weird. I'll do phase off and then just struggle to get back into it.
Peaks and troughs.
I spoke to a few people and it happens. I think even VJ said at one point it happens to him. It happens to a lot of people. It does.
You have to kind of just, you get to the point where you actually just prefer to watch a few games rather than actually play a few games.
Yeah.
It's well, it's the same thing with everything.
Well, you won't get bored because you're always reviewing games. You need.
Well, no, in fact, for me, I have to be even more careful because it's.
If you get bored, you might.
If I get bored or cynical or biased, I have to. So there are moments where you'll probably see in the channel that I just I think it was for about a month I didn't do anything. I just backed off because I was like, I'm starting to get a little bit, tetchy. So I was like, right, no, I backed off, and then I just started playing. And strangely enough, I just nipped back. I didn't play anything for a couple of weeks. Then kind of played what you classify as your guilty pleasure games. Your guilty pleasure games where you don't have to kind of think too much to kind of you do need breaks with anything. It's I don't think we're built to kind of just it's like, I don't know, in the case of like VJ, it'd be like having the same cup of tea over and over and over and over again. After 10 years you're going to get bored of it. You might want an Earl Grey or Yorkshire tea instead of just Tetley's. It's you've got to kind of allow yourself to give yourself a break. I think it's the best way of does it. Just give yourself a break with anything.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It is. I imagine you two have been gaming, haven't you?
Myself? Well, I said no. I had a bit of a break myself. Just basically. Yeah. Well, I said it was about. I think it was about July because obviously with the kids as well.
Yeah.
You're focusing on the kids sort of thing. And so I did pause for a short period, get went through, and now I'm kind of picking it back up again. It doesn't do your channel any good, but
no.
You have to. I cannot see anyone just keeps doing the same thing day in day out and not getting burnt out. And it's the same thing with work. You've got to give yourself a bit of break. You got the same thing while you go on holiday. To give yourself a break.
That is true. That is. But no, have you been gaming much, VJ? I think I've seen you at one point on what's that game number 2 of? I can't think of it.
Monster Hunter.
No.
Octopath Traveller 2.
That's it. I've seen you on that. On the Xbox list.
He's going for that 1000% achievement.
You liking it?
Yeah. It's a good game, really good game. I'm really enjoying it, and I haven't really seen much else that I wanted to play at the moment. But yeah, so I'm playing Octopath Traveler 2. I've got about 100 hours in, so just taking my time with it. Yeah, it's really good.
That's good to hear. That is. It's because I know you really liked number one, didn't you? You really enjoyed it. You did.
Oh yeah.
And you were worried it wasn't coming, weren't you, to Xbox?
Well, there was rumors that it's coming, it's not coming, and then there was like lots of press that said it is coming, and they all retracted their sort of articles, and then all of a sudden it appeared in Game Pass, and it was on sale on PlayStation.
At the same time as 2, wasn't it? It came at the same time as 2, didn't it? They kind of just dropped it, both of them, didn't they? If I remember correctly.
Octopath Traveler 1 came to Game Pass, but it wasn't available on PlayStation.
It wasn't, no.
The second one.
No, you're right. Yes, sure. Sorry. Yes. Sorry.
Released in Game Pass, and then all of a sudden, price drop on PlayStation, and it's in Game Pass, and they dropped. I don't know if Octopath Traveler ever left Game Pass, but it might have done. And you're right in the sense that both reappeared. Well, one reappeared alongside the release of number 2. So I guess
I'm sure I remember seeing 2 things were dropped at the same time, because I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think in Game Pass, Octopath Traveler appeared, then obviously after 6 or 7 months disappeared. Then they dropped it back in along with the
which would make sense if you got the second one. Here's the if you ever played the first, one, it's like, oh, here it is. There you go. You can go straight into that one as well. So it makes sense in that regard.
Different to Iodine Chronicles 100 Heroes, but same sort of visual style, and both do several things really well. It's got a really inimitable soundtrack. Yeah, it's quite outstanding. Better than the first one, I'd say.
Have you got all the characters?
Beg your pardon?
Have you got all the characters?
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. So I'm just working through
all. I know the last time you did, I think you was like you was missing one, weren't you? Or something, one particular character. That was like you was.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant in Octopath Traveler 2. Yeah, no, I got all the characters in Iodine Chronicles, every single one. So.
Yep.
I was a bit concerned because some people were saying that there was a bug that was stopping them from collecting.
That's the thing. I think you just mentioned it. It's like I was like, okay, yeah, and you were like, oh yeah. I think you were like one out, and I was like, oh, is he going to make it?
Luckily, I had a couple of saves a few hours before, which I went back to, and then it was okay the second time around. So yeah, all good in the end. So I played enough RPGs or Japanese RPG or any RPG, I suppose, where you just make sure you've got.
The irony is, it's some RPGs. Yeah, they kind of. It's almost like it's a tell now. You're like, it's in the story like, I know after this part of the story, things are going to get really, really hard. Save here.
No,
it's
but
just
they do
some RPGs just you just know through the storyline, the way the story flows. You're just like, oh, we're coming up to this sort of pinnacle battle. This is the time I really need to save.
I don't mind going back a save or two, but sometimes the reason is so obtuse in the sense of why suddenly introduce this sort of mechanic or this activity or a very specific way in terms of approaching missions or story dialogue or interacting with certain characters. That will just kind of mess with the outcome, and there's no sort of indication that might happen, and they just throw it in somewhere about 80% through in the game. If you've missed it, and there's no sort of redo, and that is kind of frustrating in some games, and I don't know why they do it.
You can't see it coming.
It's not cool. It's not user friendly. It's not a wow moment. It's actually really irritating. And as I said, it's just pretty much obtuse.
I've seen that a couple of times, and I think sometimes my gut feeling is that they have an idea of implementing this, I don't know, mechanic or something like that, and they're like, I don't know where we can put it. Where can we put it? Well, the third act is a little bit lull. Whack it in there to kind of make it a little bit more, exciting, in their opinion. Be like, God, it's just caused more problems. I think but you'll find if you notice those sort of mechanics never come early on or halfway through. It's always like the
they
last
come at a
quarter.
pivotal moment, especially when you least expect it. So what I do is that I've always got a 2 hour gap between saves, and regardless of where I am, I've just got a 1 to 2 hours over 6 to 8 hour period. So if I ever have to go back at a game, I can. So I don't end up falling for some sort of nonsense or someone's idea of a special feature when it's like completely unintelligent.
So you've been enjoying yourself, basically.
Yeah, I haven't been playing a lot of variety of games. I've just been playing Octopath Traveler 2, and then
as I said, it's sometimes you just kind of need that break. I mean, you're a person who loves his RPGs and loves his what I would classify as epic sort of, and not mean epic as in style, epic as in scale sort of games. I do struggle with some of the bigger epical styles of games, like your 100 or 200 hours in. Don't get me wrong, I can do them, but it's just a case of I do struggle with them. So, but you are kind of that person to kind of go through those.
I take my time with it, but I will say I do. When if we as a break, I don't mind playing Gears of War. When it's you or Paul or Mr. Stubz. That's a nice break. That's a nice change, and then it's like, okay, I've had that break. I feel like going back to. I even look. Then I look forward to even sort of getting on with the master game that I'm playing, so to speak. So yeah, in that sense, I think that playing something different can help. But multiplayer is quite fun and quite sort of change of pace, shall we say?
Yeah, well, it's as you said, it's a more it's a different way of playing, isn't it? It's a very different player when you're playing, I would say, live versus static. Live is where you've got your friends around you, and you've got things are going to happen based on their reaction or based on their movies, versus your static RPGs where it's been choreographed to tell a story. And as you said, sometimes the choreographed aspects are great. They're episodic, they're they're beautiful set pieces, but sometimes you just need that.
So it's like I'll tell you what it'd be
chaotic,
like.
Chaotic sort of thing.
In an alternate reality, I was what's that game? Oh goodness, coming from Capcom, Monster Hunter Wilds. Say Monster Hunter Wilds was releasing in October. I'd be or say Mech Warrior Clans or whatever. I'd be playing that, say, for multiplayer with you.
Yeah.
And say, oh, well, but Metaphor Fantasia is out also, but then I'll be playing that by myself offline, and then when I go online, I'll be playing.
Yeah.
I can do that, and that's really quite fun. And that's happened a couple of times between me and you, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed it. With Wukong, it happened, and I was playing, I think, Persona 5 on my own, and then I was playing with you. That's actually a really nice way of.
It's a nice balance, isn't it? Yeah, it's a nice balance. Yeah, and I think one of the things I am looking forward to is Monster Hunter Wilds. I am looking into that. After because it's the one that's closest to Monster Hunter World, and I really like Monster Hunter World.
Is that out yet?
Monster Hunter Wilds is not out until.
Because when you mentioned that on X, I didn't know what you were on about, and I went searching for it everywhere. I thought, this fucking game's not out. Does this game even exist? I was like, is it going to exist?
That's what I said it. Yeah, it is coming. It's is it? I don't know when they said it.
I think it just says 2025, but what I like about it,
early 2025, isn't it?
I hope so, but what I do like, if it's their financial year end is March, so I guess that's when they would like to release it. But I don't know if it's not then it's probably going to be towards September, October. But what I would say is that each and every trailer, progressively, the game looks better and better.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, it reminds me of Monster Hunter World. And Monster Hunter World was a very good game. It was the very first time for me I got into Monster Hunter. I never played any of the previous Monster Hunters. And whilst the multiplayer mechanic is a bit like, I would say, Elden Ring, that's a bit convoluted. once you get used to how to play multiplayer, it is easy because you can literally, there are so many in that community that will just go out of their way to help you tame, or not tame, but defeat the beasts within that game. And they're just people out to help you, because also it helps them grind out a lot of these monsters, because in the games you do have to grind out these monsters to get higher tier weapons, higher tier.
They're the components, right, from the monsters.
Yeah, you get components, then you got gems. It's a multifaceted layer cake of different things to get to the very top tier in terms of weapons and damages. Yeah, it's an absolute.
That should just be the tagline: Monster Hunter Cake. And that would be...
But what was really good was that, again, they did a very good job. Week in, week out, they would drop special attires for your characters. So once they were there, you'd get it for that week. But if you missed it, you lost it until about 6 months down the line when they would recycle them. So you only had a limited time to get these attires for your characters. So people would grind out a lot of these monsters, which were part of the requirements to get this attire. And then they would go out and help other people as well. The Monster Hunter community, without a doubt, was one of the most welcoming community I ever played with. And it was just, you had people from China, Japan, America. They didn't care if you didn't even know if you cared to speak English or any language. They would go out of their way to help you out and trying to grind out these monsters. And a lot of the game, I was often doing it with randoms. I think I would say 80% of the game I did it with randoms. You can do it on your own, don't get me wrong. It's a lot harder on your own, but it's not as fun, I would say, on your own. It's definitely a co-op. It's a much better experience with co-op because you can see some of the amazing stunts or amazing weapons they're using and how they fly around and attack these monsters. And you can also do things as well. So you're kind of working out the best way. One of the things as well is that you can kind of, cut off a tail or cut off a leg or something that will give you a particular component as well. So it's very much a cooperative, cohesive game in that regards, and it's definitely a very good game. And the only thing that stopped me from really going on to the DLC was that I think I mentioned before, I had a cat, and my Palico, which is effectively your little AI subordinate that follows you around, was based on that, and it brought back too many sad memories, and so I kind of stopped playing. And now this one, I'm because I know you, VJ, said, "Well, let's start playing," and I was like, I tried, and I was just a little bit too. It just brought back too many memories for me in that regards. So I'm hoping the new one, I think I'll be fine because it's a new experience. It's a few years down the line,
What I was going to ask you, Removable, because I don't know if you know, in the trailers they were talking about sort of ecosystems, dynamic weather systems. And I haven't played I haven't played a world enough
Monster Hunter World,
to know that if these are new features or recycled features. But there's also, I just want to throw in a couple of other things so you can answer them all at once. Is that there was a couple of other features in terms of they're sort of traversing over sort of a desert-y sort of foresty plain, and there's like herds of different species of animals, which I didn't recall seeing in the first game either. So I just wanted to sort of if I don't know if you know, but if you know some of the key differences in the games that you're looking forward to.
They have. So there's a little bit of a weird one. It's that the different animals and different aspects and key, the life in these worlds did exist in the first one, which you could attack and kind of grind out. There was always smaller little animals that are around there beside the big monsters that would attack you. It was a very well diverse areas that was always full of stuff that you could pick up and go ahead. The thing that slightly changes was with the DLC. They added in much more easy mechanics in terms of grappling to a monster or moving quickly. They even then brought in effectively I would say, animals you could ride for even quicker sprinting. Because one of the things that you had, first of all, you didn't have any animals. You basically had to run to the area where you saw this monster that you thought this monster might appear. So the idea is you have a biodome, and within this biodome, 2 or 3 big monsters would basically appear, but they never appeared in the same spot, or they would go around attacking the other monsters in the biodome, and they would move around the map just by attacking each other. So you kind of had to work out and guess where you think they're going to turn up. And if you did see something like, the environment would start shaking, you knew, and then you try and have to follow them around the map and try and get them out. The new one seems to it's expanded and improved upon that dramatically, from what I'm gauging from the trailers. And again, it's so if you've played the DLC, this is probably another 20% better. If you've never played before, this is going to be a big thing in terms of how you're going to get in there. I mean, there is some things in there that I haven't tried. Because I didn't play the DLC. I'm going to be interested in how that you use mounts to kind of leg it after these monsters.
Have you ever watched Nausicaa, or Valley of the Valley of the Winds, or whatever it's called?
Sounds familiar.
So
I'm not 100% sure if I have.
It was the first. I think it was one of the first movies Miyazaki directed and wrote prior to did the screenplay for and directed it prior to opening up Ghibli. And I watched it a little while back, and I remember that they had very similar looking beasts, like chocobos almost. Perhaps I think Final Fantasy actually is chocobos are inspired by that movie. But the mounts that you talk about in Monster Hunter Wilds are definitely inspired by look like chocobos, or more like the creatures from Nausicaa.
Well, I would say they're slightly they're slightly inspired by the animals you would the low level animals you would attack within the vegetation. So, like for instance, the lizards and stuff like that. That was part and parcel. They were actual low level tier monsters that you would attack to gain your basic resource. So there's a lot of basic low level tier or animals that you kind of grind out for your basic resource as part and parcel.
Yeah, no.
So by the time you get to the end, but I'll say those mounts are inspired by Ghibli, because I think Monster Hunter World, and this is like I don't know 10 years generations now. This is like a 10-year generation. It wouldn't surprise me if, because all of those monsters are like iteration after iteration after iteration for this like 10-year, I think about 10 or 15 years. Someone will probably be able to tell me if I'm talking bollocks there, but I think it's about Monster Hunter's about either 10 or 20 years old, and I wouldn't be surprised if their Studio Ghibli had, or Miyazaki had, influence on a lot of the designs, because a lot of the monster designs are effectively the same from like 20 years ago, but just much more detailed.
It is Nausicaa in the 80s, right? Something like that.
Yes, that's right. So I suspect it probably, I wouldn't be surprised. Monster Hunter has been around a hell of a long time. I just never got into it because it was always on the Game Boy, or it was always on something else. It was like a franchise that kind of, I didn't have the console, so I never could play it and get into it, sort of thing.
It does.
But yeah, no, it's one of the games I would recommend Miyasuko or Stubz and myself and yourself to kind of just dive in one time and just basically go off hunting, because it is genuinely fun.
I have got Monster Hunter. I have got a copy of Monster Hunter digital. Now, not Wilds, obviously, but I have actually got Monster Hunter. One of the games. Don't know which one.
Is it on the Game Boy or Nintendo or something like that?
No, it's on the Series X.
Then, the only one I know of then that would be Monster Hunter Wilds, wouldn't it?
Sorry,
Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World. Yeah, I've got that.
Rise?
Yeah,
I've got World.
Oh, good.
So that's that. Yeah. So if you've played that, you'll have a good understanding.
I've played it a little bit. I wouldn't call it good understanding though. I wasn't very far in. I probably didn't. Yeah, I didn't get very.
It is a bit. Again, it's a bit of a weird one, because once you get used to the mechanics, it becomes quite intuitive. But it is a strange mechanical system, and especially the fact where you're trying to do multiplayer. It's a weird way of doing things. It's
very
it's a
sorry, very correct.
Elden Ring way of doing it.
Very correct, Masuko. Yes, I do hunt all sorts of monsters in my job. Well put.
Removal. How many hours? Yeah, I know you're talking about Epic Games, but you must have put in a fair few hours into World.
Monster Hunter World, yeah. Because the thing about that is to get through the story is not by any means a feat, because basically you have to go through a variety of large monsters, and as you go through each monster, it's a new biodome, new part of the story, and you get further and further right until the end, and it must be about 70 to 80 hours. But then you've got to grind for more powerful weapons, you've got to grind for more powerful armor. It's and then you've got the gems to kind of slot and augment these weapons. It can be easily become a good 100+ hour game. I think that's just even that. That's basic level.
With you personally, did you put in 100 or more?
I can't remember. I know it was a lot of time, because I went through and I completed the game, and I was going for high level rank gear. And one of the criticisms I will say was to get the high level rank gear, literally the top tier, most powerfulest weapon, you had to get these particular gems. And these gems would do random drops from certain monsters. But the drop rate was so horrendous in terms of what you had to do. So for one instance, I'll give you an example. To get a really good, 30% damage on my, because I was a bow and arrow guy, and I'll probably be a bow and arrow guy on the new one. To get this 30% damage gem, it had like a 0.01 drop rate. And so you had to grind out this one specific monster. I think they worked it around as about, you could do it about 300 times, you still may not get it dropped. And that's the thing that slightly put me off. And I was getting a little bit more, it's only so many times you can, as much as I enjoyed the game and I was still grinding it out with other people, and trust me, the people that I was grinding it out, they were one hitting these things. It still was like, oh God, just give me the bloody thing, So I'm hoping that, I think they actually sorted that with the DLC. I remember correctly. I think they did sort the drop rates. But yes, some of the drop rates were just horrendous. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, I mean, I got frustrated with you. Ayudin Chronicles. Some of the drop rates for specific items that you need in order to collect the characters, I believe, was like 1 in 20, and some of them took me ages, and that was frustrating enough, let alone what you went through. So, but I think as long as you're aware of that before you go into the game and you enjoy it for what it is, and
yes, yeah. And to be fair, you just mean you can go through the game and just still go through the game and have a fantastic time. But if you're there for like your high level 100 plus 100 plus 100 level armor, your plus one level 100 top tier weapon, you will have to grind it out. Now, I don't know if the new one is going to be as so intensive, because the irony and do you know what, it was a culture thing, and I think that was the very first time people realized the culture, because is it Monster Hunter Japanese? I think it is, isn't it? I think Monster Hunter is Japanese. Monster Hunter World is Japanese in terms of its orientation. So for the eastern regions, they didn't see a problem with the 0.01 drop rate, because they were grinding 10 to 15 hours a day. It's part and parcel of their culture in some regards. For the Western audiences, they just tore them apart. They just couldn't. They were moaning left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Because that's not part and parcel of their culture. They're not sitting there day in and day out to kind of do the same thing over and over again for that one drop rate. It's not part and parcel of that. So they struggled, and it was a bit of a I would just say, debate online. And it was a weird one, because we saw two clash of cultures, where one side saying, what are you talking about? This is the norm. And the other side saying, oh my God, this is just pure hell. So I think they did tweak it a little bit. To the Western audience's taste, but it was one of those things that just be acutely aware that's what you're getting into at your higher top tier. That's right. If you want the top to be the most top 1% player, that's what the hell you're going to have to go through to kind of get there. But you won't. But for your general average player, you'll still be able to go through a very enjoyable, aesthetically pleasing, character well-driven story. At least it was with Monster Hunter World, that kept me enthralled week after week. And as I said, every week they were giving you new attires as well. So that also helped keep you ingrained and invested into the game. It was literally for, I think it was about 6 months, they were dropping brand new attires for your character, and they were character attires that everybody wanted. It was like, oh my god, this looks so good.
I really enjoyed the well, you probably guessed it already. I really like the component of the game to do the cooking. I didn't play it as much as you, but I wanted to know, like, besides the buffs that that the meals provide, was there like lots and lots and lots of sort of variety in terms of the meals you could prepare in terms of the ingredients?
Yes. Oh yeah, you would literally the ingredients alone, you were looking around 100 ingredients.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and so the buffs would give you, and then you could blend these to create different recipes, and the recipes look fantastic. And that's another thing. The recipes look fantastic as well. I always fell back to my favorite certain recipes that gave me huge buffs in certain areas, and I would just like, right, I'm going to make sure I have these meals ready
your
for
arrows would fly, that make sure your arrows fly straight. I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah, or it had an extra sharp tip on it because Well, the thing that was like, my buffs were generally right. I could increase my stamina twice. Double my stamina for a short period for about which was in some cases for the battles, because some of the battles, they're not 5-minute battles either. Some of the battles, because the monster would evolve or move onto a different part of the map,
different terrains,
you track it. You have to run to get to it, but you'll get to that point where it's now stopped and it's resting, and all of a sudden another monster attack it in the middle of the fact that you're trying to capture it, because you can capture monsters as well. So that also gives you bonuses and benefits and stuff like that. But you've then got to try and micromanage your health and micromanage your stamina and stuff like that. And so things like that, it's a very all built in one system sort of game. And it does come together once you've spent time with it. It does come together.
It's just for Mr. Stubz, when Removable talks about terrain changes, it's not just horizontal. He talked more, but the terrains also change vertically. You could climb a huge tree, get to the canopy, attack something, and then suddenly it'll fly down into some other layer or level.
Perfect examples. It'll climb up the middle of this tree. You'll start attacking it, and all of a sudden it will fall through the canopy and it'll fall into an underground tunnel. So then you'll have to jump down and follow it, and then it'll wind its way through a tunnel, and it'll open it up into like a little plain of little grassland area. And then just as you're about to attack the bloody thing, some other big monster will then attack it, die, and then you've got that big other monster now attacking you. So it was a very, very well put together sort of. Things were exciting. There's always, and this is the one thing they'll do now. I think they've said is monsters are even more aggressive, more intuitive. So things are randomly going to happen that you're not going to expect. And as time went on, they would then add other monsters to those biodomes. So if you had 3 or 4 monsters in the first round, some of the DLCs or updates, they'd add 3 or 4 more monsters into it. And so they'd have 3 or 4 different more choreographs or monsters attacking each other and then attacking you and stuff like that. It became a very episodic adventure.
Were you able to sort of say you were getting up? I mean, I don't know, but I'm just thinking out loud. Say you were like going up against a tough monster that you got beaten by a couple of times. Obviously Stubz would have defeated it with his eyes closed, but could you entice perhaps another monster and sort of sort of ensnare it and then get it to tow it along with you to attack.
Yes, you would often. To be fair, that's one of your techniques. Is if you could lure a monster, for instance, that's another thing a few people did. Is like, say for instance, there was a big. One of the heavier, more brutal monsters was there. Like, I really need to whittle him down before I attack him. You'd find maybe a smaller monster, get that to follow you after you've attacked it, kind of lead it towards the other one. They would then start having a battle, and once they'd finished, then you'd go in. And this is so there was plenty of different ways to defeat these monsters. And then obviously, depending on if you went online, you'd have these supercharged allies that would just go in there and go, one hit, bonk. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I know it's sort of difficult because you've all both got busy lives, but I know it's difficult to predict when the game's out and what we'll be doing at that time.
I would say it's one of the ones I'd like to get back into again, and it's a little bit of a. I feel sore that I didn't get the chance to finish off the DLC, which is Iceborne, Monster Hunter World, Iceborne.
Oh no, sorry. I meant for what the new iteration in terms of Wilds when that comes out, and I don't know what we'll be doing, but I definitely.
Well, that's what I said. I kind of want to go into it because I kind of think I've missed out on finishing up that experience because of what happened, and so I kind of now want to kind of go back to Monster Hunter World. I don't think I'll go back to Monster Hunter World, the one that I've played, because it's got too many memories for me. But I'm definitely interested in going to the new one because of those memories, because of those experiences, because of those enjoyments.
You mean the DLC for Worlds, Rise, or Wilds?
Wilds. I don't think
Wilds,
I'll
go. That's what I'm saying.
The DLC still links me back to Monster Hunter World, where I've got a little bit of a, I don't know, it's just a little bit of a soft spot for me at the moment that I just don't want to pick at. So Wilds is a new experience, new world, new storyline that I'm just really interested in seeing. But because I've had that historical background with World, and I know what the community is like, I want to get back into that community as much as anything, to be honest with you. I want to kind of try and spend more time. It's one of those games that I think we'd probably spend, it's one of those games I think once you get into it with your fellow fans, you'll be like, I'll meet you tomorrow. And then you do everything to meet your mate there tomorrow.
I mean,
and I think that's what it is going to be.
Because it might be a year away from release. I don't know what we'll be doing, but it's definitely one I've earmarked with you and perhaps Masuka and Mr. Stubz. We could play.
I'll have a look at it.
I think I've seen.
I was just going to say to Stubz that I know it hasn't got like the sort of basic control system, but I think Removable's right that
I think I may jump back into Monster Hunter World.
You'll become. It's not. It seems a little bit obscure, to start with. But if you're playing it with like Removable as a sort of a veteran, and
I wouldn't say veteran,
but well, compared to me, you are. But it's definitely. I think it's a lot of fun, and the new one just looks. I don't know if you've watched the trailers and said,
I need to watch it.
Whether you looked at the trailer and said, there's a few things here that they might have actually really, managed to sort of take up a couple of notches.
I'll put it. I'll leave it to this: the experiences I had in Monster Hunter World. I'm still hard pushed to think of even a modern game now that I would say I experienced. With the fact that it's so, you never know what's going to happen. The experience is, you never know what's going to attack you. You never know what's going to lead you off down a different path or where you're going to go. The experiences of just the community and how they are genuinely so friendly in terms of out to help you out. It generally felt much more communal than I think I've ever felt in many games. And I've played a lot of multiplayer games as well. I've played a lot of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, I think, but this one was generally more of a communal, let's get together and defeat this thing. And because it's also only 3 or 4 people, it doesn't feel. It feels like your actions mean something. But it also means that if you fuck up, it also means your actions mean something. So it's about go
on. Sorry, I just meant like in the trailers for the Wilds, the new one that's the upcoming new release. Was there any features in there that you've had a sort of? I don't know if they've revealed any, so it's a bit of a strange question.
Well, to be honest with you, the features, a lot of the features is from the DLC and is from the main Hunter stuff thing. There is, from what I'm seeing, so there is some features I know exist, but I haven't played with those features, if it makes sense. But there are stuff. What I'm saying is now it does look like there's a lot more in terms of the monster to monster reactions. They've seemed to have doubled that up. So what we would, as I said, what we'd normally get is you get some big monsters or a big monster attacking small little monsters sort of thing, and another big monster turn up. You'd only get a limited amount of those interactions until the DLC or updates would turn up.
Here, in the trailers that I saw, there seems to be a lot of it, right?
Exactly. Really it seems to have ramped that up as It's a much more ramped up. It feels like where the DLC used to add on these monsters and kind of, it then once you've been, once you had 2 or 3 updates, it's like, wow, this is really like a full-on biosphere with monsters that are just attacking each other and you're just going around. This feels much more. Yes. Well, in terms of the weather, I would say it would just either the rain would come in or the wind would blow. Again, this seems to have ramped that up. This seems to have kind of taking it to the next level. So, for instance, I said one of the things, it would fall if you fell for a canopy, or a monster would fall through a hole into a cave. Those things seem to have been ramped up as well. So it seems, the environments seem to be much more fluid as well. Well, this is the thing. I think it's been, there. I wouldn't say it was a gimmick, but there it was a very nice. So, for instance, you'd be attacking a monster, it'd come out of the sand, and all of a sudden, after you've attacked it, it would fall over, hit this hole, and all of a sudden, you'd all fall into this big cave together with the monster. That felt a little scripted. On this one, it does seem to be. It's less scripted. It's a bit more fluid in that regards. So I think it looks like they've ramped everything up.
That's what I was trying to gauge, whether you felt it was just more of the same and said, oh no, hang on a minute, this is really intriguing because they've really built on the systems, and this does look like.
And that's why I'm going to get back into it again, because it does. Yeah,
it feels compared to my previous experience, so it's worth my investment.
Yes, for me at least, it does seem to be the case. It does seem to be.
The reason why I'm asking you is because you've played the first one, so it's difficult for me to say because I haven't played it enough to really be able to see any contrast, in the.
Well, I would argue this is great. You are the perfect player they're trying to introduce to the game. I've been there, so I kind of know the mechanics. I know what the game's like. I can kind of but I almost you could say I'm biased. With you're the brand new player to the game.
Yeah.
If it intrigues you, that's what is the best way.
Just to switch games, but this probably might be a good example. Is like if you looked at, I don't know if you watched the Gamescom trailer for MechWarrior Clans, with the gameplay and how the environments look and how there's some new systems being introduced. It's like, wow, this
it's ramped
I don't know
up,
how it will play, because obviously emergent gameplay and all that with MechWarrior, but the way the terrains are, the speed of the game, the draw distance now of the visuals in the cities, and the way that the fidelity of the mechs now for Clans.
I mean, the mechs looked pretty good anyway, I think.
Being able to see sort of proper gameplay for the first time, it looks really good. And we were talking about single player. I mean, this Clans releases a week before ReFantasio, so I could see myself potentially playing Clans with you and playing ReFantasio on my own, a week later. So the contrast dynamics, but also the UI removable has been complete, because the first time I actually saw it was from the Gamescom trailer, and it was like, Removable is going to love this. Like you can actually read the fonts. And the way that the menu systems and the way you build your mechs and everything, it just seems so much more.
Well, they've still got that. Yeah, they've got. I still quite like the fact that you could switch out or build your mechs. I didn't mind that, but as you noticed, like when they added all the DLCs, they added new perks, they added new bits and bobs to it, which definitely made the games better. It's one of the things I said to you. One of the DLCs was like it just adds so much more to the original game. And I say, and again, this is exactly the same with this with the Clans. They've taken all those DLC perks, all those DLC updates, all those things those mechanics they've added to the base game, so that when you had MechWarrior 5, and you bought all the DLC, you had I would say you had a complete game anyway, but you had a much more complete experience. On the new ones with Clans, you've got that already. They seem to have already put all that in. And it's even bigger than what it is to get. It's like they've ramped it up to another level.
Are you
which
reviewing?
Is one of the reasons.
Are you? I know you reviewed the first mech. I know you.
I reviewed the DLC.
Yeah. Do you think you'll be reviewing Clans by any chance?
It's a case of time, and also I don't know. I'd like to. It's one of those things.
Don't complain about time. Me and Stubz know that you use some extraterrestrial voodoo to bend time to your will.
You do. You do. Yeah.
Valid excuse.
I just trust me. No, I know what I do is
just a joke. Just joke. Throwing a joke.
The irony is, I play games from midnight to about 4 a.m. So that's my time when I'm reviewing stuff.
I can. What's the legal term for it? Yeah, I can
attain to that. Yeah, because you see me online, it's like, you still here? It's like, yeah, it's still. If it's 4 a.m.
I'm up and saying, listen, I know it's like 3 or 4 o'clock removed, but I actually got to go and have my dinner. So if you don't mind,
yeah, he's usually saying, it's like, oh, you should be in bed. It's like, I'll be in bed in a minute. That's right. It's 4 a.m. there. It's like, yeah, it's 4 a.m. I should probably go to sleep. I'm up at 6. But it's that's my time really to kind of do that stuff. I'd like to, I'd love to review it. I think it's one of those things. Things with reviewing games is, if you're reviewing a game, you can become a bit analytical. Where if you're not reviewing a game, you can just enjoy it for the enjoying sake. If that makes sense. So some games you kind of don't want to review because you just want to enjoy it for what it is and have that personal experience. When you're it's when you're enjoying a game. Don't get me wrong. Games like when I'm reviewing, I enjoy them, but it is different than just say playing a game. Because you're much more focused on things that you may necessarily not be focused about before. So, the fidelity of something, the draw distance, whether it's tearing. Sometimes when you're caught up in a game, you won't notice about that. You're not really interested. You're not looking for these. You're almost not looking for the problems in the game. Where if you're reviewing it, you have to be aware of the problems. You may not necessarily be looking for it. You have to be aware of them. So mentally, I would say, something's always in the background looking for these things. So you're not fully immersed. I don't think as a reviewer you can ever classically say that you're fully immersed, because you're always trying to think of something. You're always trying to kind of gauge.
You're not in immersive mode. You're in analytical mode.
Yes, degree, and so that's
kind of pulling. You're kind of being pulled from pillar to post, basically.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a catch-22. So you can find yourself. Yeah, and so you have to kind of you have to be aware of that at the same time, so you don't provide too much of a biased review as well, because if you're too analytical, you're not enjoying it. It could be, you may not enjoy it as much. Where if you weren't being analytical, you'll enjoy it a hell of a lot more. That's no fault of the game. It's just you as a reviewer. So, that's the thing where I think sometimes, I said with burnout, even with games, it's just sometimes it's better to kind of back off and not review something, because I want to enjoy. I think whilst I'd like to review MechWarrior 5, I kind of don't want to. I kind of want just that experience to be with me and you.
Is it potentially one of the games you're looking forward to in the last quarter of this year, sort of feel Christmas
I
game.
think well you know MechWarrior is mine is a fate. I like the MechWarrior series anyway, so you know that's a it is.
I didn't want to sort of put words in because I'm just so out of touch in terms of what games are coming out in the last quarter. There's always so many. So
there is one that I'm looking forward to, and it's Space Marine 2. I'm a very good. I really enjoyed the very first Space Marine,
Space Marine.
It's such a.
Can I ask? Is that coming out soon?
September the 9th.
My dad's bought that. I believe he's bought the early. Is it a sci-fi shooter?
It's a third-person shooter.
He rang me and said it's like Gears of War, kinda.
Yes.
He says he's bought the top package. He says it looks really good. He's bought it on PS5. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, well, the first one was
I haven't
really
looked at
good.
Any games recently.
No. If you understand Warhammer, you understand the Space Marine.
He likes them Warhammer games as well. He's all into them.
He'll know. Yeah, he'll know the lore. He'll know the background. The first one's really good. It was one of those games that, strangely enough, I'm trying to remind myself. I don't think it did. It was either released in period between two other big hits, so it didn't get the respect and review it deserved, or it's one of those games that just not many people. It's like a niche game, so not many people kind of played it. It was actually a really good third-person shooter game, and it became a little bit of a cult classic, a cult favorite over the years that came around, and so people have been clamoring on about a second one for years. And clearly someone's listened to them and went, actually, no, yeah. And so from what I'm hearing about the second one, they've just ramped it, trebled it up. In terms of the first one, you'd have like maybe hundreds of enemies just rushing you and you'd be mowing them down and battling them and fighting them. In this one, it looks like it's thousands. They've expanded upon it in so many different ways, graphically, fidelity, and at least from the trailers, it does look exceptionally good. It's one of those ones that I really, and it's also got a multiplayer aspect to it as well, which I kind of it's one of the ones that I kind of was trying to get all the best armors, all the best weapons and stuff like that. It was a really good multiplayer mode. But you're right, yeah. The closest thing I would describe it is that it's a bit Gears of War-esque, where it's third person. You're moving from one area to another. You're pumping through. You're getting through the Horde, but that's not the Horde. It's the Tyranids in this particular one. I think if you like Gears, I think you'll like this. But it's not like it's not.
I need to look this game up. I'm liking the sound of it, kinda.
It's Gears-esque is the best way to say it. Don't think of it as like it's a cover shooter, because this is very much all in, all out carnage. But
would you say it's got sort of, I don't know if it's the right game because I really don't know, so forgive me. Has it got like, it sounds like when you describe that, it sounds a little bit like Doom almost, in third person.
Doom-ish, yeah, I would say it is. As if Doom was in a third person. The trouble is, it's again, I don't know what the second one, but if I'm going based on the first one and obviously the second one's trailers and stuff like that, it has. I would say the closest response is that it's like Gears, where you're just going through this story. You're going to go through. You're marrying through these enemies. But it has probably got a little bit of a blend of Doom. It's not like the new Doom where you're bouncing from one monster to another. No, this is it's just you, a huge hulking piece of destruction, plowing through these monsters.
Sounds like Stubz in the gym.
Yeah,
but it's even with these monsters in their numbers can do you over, and it's a bit like how the Horde is. You're a cog attacking. Attacking the monsters, and if you get too many around you, you can easily be taken down. So it's one of the ones I am pretty looking forward to kind of playing.
Did you know, VJ, we're live on X as well? So just so you know,
I have no idea. But,
we're live on Twitter as well.
There was something else that was on my calendar. I don't know, like, who streams the Ghibli movies in the in the UK, but The Boy and the Heron is making its way to HBO on September the 6th.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I know
I've
that'll
been
be.
making my way through all the Ghibli movies in Japanese recently, and I've got 1.5 movies to go just before. I've been sort of watching them all leading up to the release
Oh,
in my
nice.
spare time. So I've watched all of them from Nausicaa all the way up to Spirit Away. I'm halfway through that. But watching them all of them in Japanese, I really can't take the English dubbing. So I watched them all in Japanese, and I've got one more to go after that, and then yeah, hopefully I'm looking forward to watching that. It's about 4 or 5 days time. So I don't know who streams it in the UK, but if I didn't know if you'd watched it already.
No, I
Removable.
haven't. I am looking forward to that. It's one of those things. I think I'll have to wait until it comes out
I
on the
think it'll be
streaming service.
Netflix that will be doing it.
Is it Netflix
I
that has
don't.
the Ghibli movies?
Maybe
It's only that's
they
a
did
that's
have
a
a lot of
guess.
Studio
That is.
Ghibli stuff on there, but I don't know if they got the newer stuff. One of the ones I recently did watch, and it was a throwback for me, was the Akira. I rewatched Akira again,
Oh.
and it's surprising if you haven't watched something for about 10 years and you go back and watch it again. Because I obviously watched it when it first came out in Japanese, and then I rewatched it again, and it kind of left a new meaning on me. There was a lot more subtleties in there than I realised. There was a lot more in-depth meaning there than I realised, and it's maybe because my brain's a little bit more mature to understand what the subtleties were than I was, say, 15, 20 years ago. And it's like, oh, hang on a minute, I don't remember that kind of, sort of, way of talking or subtlety that there was there. And I think it's just because your brain, as a younger person, doesn't always pick things up. So yeah, if you're a fan of some of the Japanese anime, go back, and you haven't seen something for about 20 years, go back and rewatch it. I think you'll pick on a lot more than what the director was saying than you probably first realized.
That's what I find with the Miyazaki movies when I watch Nausicaa as well. It's like a 40-year-old movie, but it's like almost watching it with. I say I'm older, but I'm seeing it with fresh eyes, like you just mentioned.
I think you pick. I said you pick up on the subtleties that were probably you weren't present aware. Or for instance, you're picking up on the slight political natures or slight ideological natures that you weren't. You were kind of blind to as a younger man or a younger person.
And I just did a quick check for you, Removable. Netflix does have the rights for The Boy and the Heron outside of the US and Japan, but there's a specific date for America, which is September the 6th. There's no specific date for Netflix in the UK, so you might want to keep an eye on that.
It's we've had this a couple of times. So, for instance, they just released The Terror, which was about 4 or 5 years old, ironically, on Netflix US, but it's not up here on the Netflix UK. So yeah, there are things that happen in the US that they get that we don't always get in the UK. We might get it like a year later or something like that. We've had that a couple of times, but vice versa. There's stuff in the UK that Netflix that we get that you don't as well. So it's a catch-22. So if you've got a VPN, that's the best way of dealing with it.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just there's just so much to watch that.
Oh God,
yeah. I mean, between the games and some other bits and pieces, other hobbies that I've got, and then Netflix and HBO, that's just more than enough. I don't have that much time, but
exactly,
and as long as I've got access to the Ghibli movies, which, to be honest with you, I watch more and more every year. I kind of seem to go through them.
Well, me and the missus went through every single one that was on Netflix in one hit.
Do you prefer to watch them in? Can I ask, if you don't mind me asking, do you prefer to? And this is a question for you as well, Mr. Stubz. Do you prefer to watch them with the English dubbing and obviously German for you, Mr. Stubz, or do you prefer to read the subtitles and listen to the Japanese dialogue?
Subtitles for me. With Japanese voice, I think you get, for me at least, the tonage.
The director's original intentions,
yeah, it's much more clearer. You may not. So, for instance, yes, I'm reading the text, but the tonnage of what's been said has more meaning than, say, a dubbing version. So how I'd explain this is, for instance, I'll say to you, do you like toast? You'll see that my voice went up and down, and it kind of went through there. Now, if you had a dub version, it'd be like, do you want toast? It's a different, almost tonal experience. Say from a dubbing, where the dubbing person, and they may be good, translators,
like
or they may be good.
The first way you said it was with personality, and the second one was like some sort of AI had been interjected into the process.
Exactly, yeah, because the problem being is when you've got that culture, you understand that culture, so you know what's going through. You know you're coming from a cultural aspect, a cultural tonnage. If you're going it from a different culture, you may not get the way they would say things or why they would say things, especially when it comes to some of their what I would claim as their mantras. Their mantras, they know their mantras, so therefore they know how they sound and how it should be conveyed to the next person. You on a different culture may not know those mantras, so you won't know how to convey them in the correct way, and that isn't therefore sometimes the clearest way of experiencing it. I think with either way, I suppose I'm kind of saying is basically the direction's perfect. It's universal language with subtitles, where it may not necessarily be the case when it comes to dubbing.
I was going to say, don't do the animations from Ghibli a disservice, because they are plenty expressionary. And just to be clear, I have watched the movies with and without dubbing. So
yes, and don't get me wrong, the actors do a fantastic job of doing the voice work. I'm not saying they don't. It's just that I don't think you'll ever get the best experience. The best experience is always going to be.
I always sense that there's something missing if I don't watch it in Japanese. It's just a preference, but I have watched them. In both.
The same thing. My missus watches a lot of Chinese dramas. Don't know why, but she's into her Chinese dramas, and she listens to Chinese and reads the text. She's into her Chinese dramas at the moment. These dragons and magical sword fights and stuff like that. She's really into it. I think it's because of me. Because
it sounds like she'll be joining us on Monster Hunter Wild. The way you're.
No, she doesn't like video games.
I'm just kidding. It's just that you mentioned monsters and dragons.
I think it was my fault because she wasn't into any of that, and I said, "Look, just watch this Studio Ghibli film. I think you'll like it." She loved it, and then we went on and did all of them.
Which one was it?
And then she started. It was Ponyo.
So incredible movie. Yeah, I love that one.
Absolutely, Ponyo. And then we went through basically all of them. It was literally we went through every single one on the studio on Netflix, and she loved every single one of them, sort of thing. And so then she went and we started literally. Then she started looking at other Eastern sort of materials, and she's kind of fallen slightly into the well of the Chinese at the moment. She likes the Japanese one, don't get me wrong. She loves some of the Japanese ones, especially the Japanese dramas. They've got some very
towards the Korean dramas.
She loves some of the Korean dramas. One of the ones that we watched recently, it was a Korean drama about zombies set in the very early Korean 1300s era. I can't think of what it's called. It was not Unforgiven. It was Kingdom. Kingdom it's called. I think it's called Kingdom. And that's brilliant. There's a lot of really good stuff coming out of South Korea right now. There is some Home is another one. Really fantastic series are coming out of Korea in terms of their dramas, their anime. They're ramping up. To be fair, a lot of the European stuff I quite like. There's some really good, some good German, some good Polish ones. In fact, I think there's a Slovakian mystery series I'm watching currently at the moment. It's just fantastic. It's old school storytelling, if that makes sense. They're not bound by what I would classify as safe and stale productions, which seem to be getting in the West. It's like, oh, we've got to be careful of what we say or don't think or portray. This seems other cultures seem to be still back to being a bit more gritty and realistic, I would say, in terms of their depictions about human nature. Where I think here in the West we've kind of become. This is a little bit. We have. It's a bit for our games as well. I've noticed that our games are a little bit stale because we're trying to be safe. We're trying not to offend everybody. We're just trying not to, and it's kind of, I think it's killed a little bit of the artistic intent, which is a bit of a shame. But on the bright side, it means that, Europe and Western cultures are just deciding to push through it, and they're bringing some fantastic storylines across.
Do you have a series called on Netflix? It's a Korean series called Uncanny Counter.
Uncanny Counter.
It's got a new season's just been released. It's just a tremendous amount of fun, and it's sort of similar to the genres that you've mentioned. And the second season's just come out. I don't really want to tell you what it's about or anything, but
okay, I'll have a look at that because
I don't know if it's out. It's called The Uncanny Counter, but I thought it was tremendous amount of fun.
Oh, hang on a minute. Is that the where they're in one of these little
well, they're hideouts.
Little shops for food. Is it little shops of food? What do you call it? A little
ramen?
Like little grocery stores. Yeah, little almost like little ramen stores or something like that. And it's based around that. I sure I saw something. I
don't want to tell you, but
it sounds familiar. But it's it sounds familiar. Yeah.
I'll let you decide if you want to watch it or not. But I'm on the second season, and I really, really enjoy it.
Oh, my missus. Well, we really like stuff like Dark. It was a German series that was really good. Rain was another. I think it was a Polish series that was really. It just where there seems to be style elsewhere.
Yeah.
Other cultures still seem to want to tell kind of really gritty, dark, and I would say more human tales. They're there to show you the goods and bads of humanity, not almost like a kind of stale version of what it is, which is what I prefer. Yeah. I like the moralistically grey. I like the things where it's not always clear cut and dry. I like the humane aspect to it where, not everyone. You're not just pure good or pure bad. You have that morally grey right across the board, which then kind of just makes you think. It kind of makes your brain, kind of go, would you be like this? Would you be like that in these sort of situations? It gives you a little bit more food for thought than just your standard. Oh, this is a good guy. This is a bad guy. Attack. Good guy wins. There you go.
As you just watch reruns of Scooby-Doo.
They were good back in the day, though. They're still good.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Stubz?
He's asleep.
What was the actual question originally?
No idea. You can make it up as you go along.
I don't know what it was.
What are you watching? Are you watching any TV series, or is there any sort of series that you're kind of
on your own
engaging?
Well, I'm going to engage you in Critical 999 on Netflix. Resus.
Critical 99.
Something like that. It's on Netflix. It's
is that like was it Holby City sort of?
Yeah, but real life. Yeah, there's this real life resus department in a hospital.
Oh, yes.
Why she watches it, I don't know. But I was like, bloody hell, film my leg now. But luckily, I never ended up in resus. Not good if you end up in a resus unit.
No. My missus worked at them, so whenever she's like, if it's like a what's it called? What I classify as a drama series, she just gets.
This one's actually real, but it's not. It's real stuff, etc. But yeah, I need to watch some more Ghiblis. I do. There's more on Netflix, but I think the answer for the question was you were asking about subtitles. I would listen to it in English. I do.
Dub. You'd English dub, man.
Yeah. Well, not normally. Not in the Yakuza game. It sounds silly, but it sounds all right on there. It does, but then again,
I think it depends on. I suppose in that way you.
But again, I've never watched the original Ghibli's back in the day. You see, really, even though it's the same movie, I haven't. So, but I maybe try one with the subtitles on, see how I feel.
I think if you're happy with the Yakuza, try it out and see what it's like.
Okay.
Just to see, because you're going to still be reading the text.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's a case of I see what you're saying. You might go and actually, no, I want to hear it rather than I want to read it.
Yeah.
Because it is a very different skill. To be fair, it is a very different skill. But I would say, if you do enjoy it, I think you'll find yourself transitioning over to it more.
Okay.
Because you'll pick up what we're saying, where it just seems the much more authenticity is just there. It just feels right for some reason. I don't know why. And once you've learned that skill to kind of listen to a different culture's tone and then read at the same time, it's weird because your brain then starts to, I'd say it starts to educate yourself. You start to learn a little thing as well. So there's whilst I didn't know what the hell they were saying, certain tones, I knew what they were saying because I'd read it previously. So I kind of was learning.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'll try it. I will.
It varies. Some people. My brother, he can't do subtitles. He just can't. Where actually, I'm finding now that I prefer to do subtitles in most games, which is weird because I never used to.
Even with Octopath Traveller, I'm playing it all in Japanese. VO.
Yeah, I've never used to be like that, but now I am. I'm like, don't know why.
Oh,
so it's a very different way of it. Yeah, very different way to see what you like.
Oh, yeah, I will try it. I will.
Beans on toast, Mr. Stubz. That's the way to go.
That's how it started, this podcast. We were talking about beans on toast.
Because I'll be having that for breakfast tomorrow.
There you go.
Which is weird, because I actually got called weird for having beans on toast for breakfast.
What's weird about that? It's perfectly normal in England.
That's what I thought.
Who called you weird?
A colleague of mine was like, "Why would you have beans on toast for your breakfast? That's that's an after tea."
Was he like 18, 19-year-old?
No, 40-year-old.
Oh,
40-year-old young lady was just like, "No, you have that in the afternoon. Why would you have it as breakfast?"
Never heard of that before.
That's weird.
It can be breakfast.
It isn't weird, because if you go to a cafe and you say, "I'll have a all British fry up," you're going to get baked beans and you're going to get toast.
Well,
exactly. That's the argument I was saying. I was like, "What's wrong with baked beans on toast for breakfast?"
Next thing you know, there's an argument broke out in the office, and it's all about what time you should have beans on toast.
Well, I want to make sure that beans.
He's brought it to a standstill again today.
It was literally, I don't know why. It's just like, she was like, "What did you have for breakfast?" It was like, she has muesli or something like that. I was like, "I like beans on toast." The reason is I don't eat. I've gotten to the point now. One of the things I'm trying to do in terms of my health is I used to eat about 3 or 4 meals a day, which is not good. So I'm trying to cut down my portion sizes. So what I found was I'm not a person who eats breakfast. I generally don't eat breakfast. I normally eat something about 11 o'clock, and then I snack throughout the whole day and have a meal in the afternoon, and then maybe a snack about midnight again. So what I'm finding now is that if I eat something stodgy for breakfast, I don't find myself snacking throughout the day. So I've managed to cut myself down to about 2 meals a day now, where I'm having a beans on toast for breakfast to kind of stodge me up, and then I won't eat anything until about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. But it's just one of those things. There's as someone who doesn't eat breakfast, I struggle, but I do enjoy it. But I struggle. I'm going nomad. Well, it was one of the things I was trying to read is that basically said fasting is actually pretty good for you. Intermittent fasting is pretty good for you, because they said humans themselves were never meant to have food on a consistent basis. Neanderthal man, he would kill something and then kind of gouge himself and gorge himself on that meal, and then it may take him about a week before he'll have to eat something else because he's got to try and hunt something else. We were never really meant as a species to kind of have food this plentiful on this regularity, and so it doesn't help our bodies to kind of stuff our faces day in day out. So there's you're historically, humans used to fast. Well, not fast, but they couldn't get food, so their bodies would literally, they didn't have food to kind of, to kind of, so it'd be like not, it'd be empty for quite a long period of time. So they're saying intermittent fasting is actually, at least this was one of these guys was saying intermittent fasting. He said isn't as bad for you as people make it out to be. It could be just the fact, just reduce down some of your portion, either reduce down your portion size or cut out a meal entirely and see how that goes. Let your body kind of, and again, it's this thing I was talking to you about. It's like, wait for it about 6 to 8 weeks. Wait for your body to get used to it.
Yeah.
Because, you're not going to see any results in the first 2 weeks or first 3 weeks. It's like when I did that walk. I had to spend 6 weeks training for the walk.
Yeah, well, you pulled away through my area, VJ, and didn't even pop in for a cup of tea.
After, there's no bloody chance. I was like, I'd done like a 15-mile walk that day. I'd gone for about 4 hours worth of traffic. It's like, no, I'm not stopping off. Not stopping off. Yeah, I was like texting him as I was going past. I'm just going past yours. Because it is like, I think it was actually a Saturday as well, wasn't it? It was not a Saturday. It was a Saturday.
Something like that.
No, Sunday. Saturday or Sunday or something. I was like, right. No, it was a Sunday because we did the walk on Saturday, so it was a Sunday. I was driving back, and it's like, oh, Stubz will be having his roast dinner. I'm not going to kind of bother him, but I'll just say I'm going past him. But yeah, it's. What was that?
No. I was just going to say to Stubz, he's been sending me bits and pieces of him in the gym, and yeah, it's really good to see that he's keeping active, and yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, you just got to keep it up, ain't you, mate?
I will keep it up. It's good. It is doing well.
And I said, don't worry too much on the numbers. Just focus on keeping the routine.
I will.
Because to be honest, the numbers will go up, the number will go down. But if you can keep the routine, that will be the long-term benefit for you.
It will. I know it will. But I'm enjoying it anyway. That's all that matters. It is. But anyway, it's been.
See you on the front of the GQ magazine this time next year.
Yep. Like Moses. Massive
variety. It'll be on Variety,
Yeah. The pest controls industry's Adonis.
How working out made my wasp maintenance a better business. Mind you, saying that, is it Japanese that kind of say it's part of the company that sets up like yoga, isn't it? Is it yoga? It's part and parcel built into their actual work culture, where you have to do yoga. Then you do some yoga in the lunchtime. Then you do some yoga in the afternoon. Something. It's part of the actual some countries, some companies' culture.
Probably is. I don't know.
It's either Japan or China. You'd know, VJ.
I think in Japanese and Chinese schools, and also Japanese, well, you only have to watch the Ghibli documentaries where, or even construction sites, that they do have sort of just before, like an assembly almost, where everybody participates in certain exercises, either in the morning or a certain part of the day. So it's part of their culture for sure. And in Asia, absolutely. I don't know about sort of Western culture if it's sort of commonplace or not, but in Asia for sure it is.
There you go. You could make it part and parcel of your company's daily routine.
Go, Jim.
There you go. And actually, I'm sure wouldn't you be able to, if you actually stated that as part and parcel of your company's routine, wouldn't you be able to get some sort of benefits out of that? Because you're kind of helping the mental health of your staff.
Staff? It's me and my dad. What are you on about? Got staff.
Just say, yeah, but
you are staff. It's like after COVID, the health and safety rang up, and it was like, our company's too small for that kind of. And like, we're only families, 2 of us. Oh, yeah, we don't really need to speak to you then, because technically it's not really staff. And that was it. It's health and safety is funny though, but it's literally got 5 employees or more. You have. We're not technically deemed employees. I am, as such, but it's different. But
well,
I don't really actually.
You're CEO of Stubz and Co.
No, well, I will be the CEO, COO eventually. We haven't got a CEO actually, by the way. It's only me and my dad. But I will give myself that title when I finally properly take over.
I'm waiting for the day that you're going to post on X under your company logo. Really well done. Stubz has done an amazing job. He's gonna. We're giving him 2 weeks full paid holiday.
Did you see that post? Did you see that? I can't believe that. Come on, guys. This is my.
He's the only boss. He's the only employee.
If you don't get it, VJ, he shared someone's picture of someone saying, "This is my brother's company," and like goes, "He's the only employee. He is the boss."
He's the best employee we've ever had. He's going to get free paid holiday. He's effectively the only person of the company.
I can't believe somebody would do that, but I can though. But wait. On the internet, it's so easy to find stuff out. It is.
Well, it is technically true, isn't it? He's giving himself a good holiday and a good pay rise because he's the boss. One of the guys I knew, he was also his own boss. But what he did very cleverly was he put his dogs down as partners of the company. So it was him and 2 other people, and the 2 other people was I think it's like Gary and Susan, and they were his dogs, and he put them down as CEOs. What was quite funny was that he'd get people rung up, and he goes, I've been having a chat with Gary, and he says we can try and get this job going together. He's looking at his dog going, who you be bloody talking to? They try and flag it that they've been talking to Gary and Susan, sort of thing.
Not realising they're dogs.
Susan. Yeah, because they didn't know. He literally was a CEO. It's like, I've had a chat with Susan. She said we can try and get this project off the ground. Do you think we can try and move this forward a little bit? And he's looking at his dog going, who the friggin' hell have you been talking to? So they're blagging it. They're just bullshit, of course. They've never spoken to him. But it was quite funny because it kept a lot of like the cranks away, because then he knew, I was like, oh yeah, I've spoken to this person, spoken to that person. It's like, oh, but you haven't, mate. He's too busy licking his balls. Trust me, you haven't. Oh god, yeah. Little things people do when they're in small companies. Not that you do anything like that, would you, Stubz?
No, he only gives himself employee the month every other month.
He gives himself a treat every month.
It could be.
Yeah, I bet you have. Yeah,
there's CPD points at the end of the year. Now, I know for a fact that I will win this every year. I could do that. Me versus my dad. I've already beat him massively. Well, I could do that.
You've got employee of the van. Inside his van is just Stubz' face every year. It's just his
I am the brand. I am the face of the company. That's true. I'm the brand ambassador.
Stubz and Co. We kill the bugs that you don't want. Others don't want to.
I don't do stuff like that. That sounds very cheesy, like an American company's tagline. That would be. They're very much into all that.
I've got you now with some sort of like bug spray equipment in some sort of dodgy and pose right on the side of the van. You know.
I always envision him in a hazmat suit.
Well, yeah, hazmat. But yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah. Bug and Co. We'll get. Bugs are gone.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see, like, you know, him sort of watch Aliens on YouTube and then sort of do a talk over it, like in terms of how he would tackle
yeah.
That's a great idea. Have to like think of that.
The thing is, you shouldn't really be using machine guns, right? And I've got this special concoction that I've made in my garage.
Well, there is some chemicals that.
Over that, mate.
There's one chemical that I would never use, but you probably heard of it. I wouldn't have wanted to be a pest controller back then, but back in the day, I believe they used to use cyanide.
Yes.
Cyanide for wasp nests and all sorts, and no end of people died. Yes. They used to have to carry crystals around with them because their heart would stop, and many people died. But I would have not wanted to be a pest controller back then. We don't use anything like that. We don't.
They didn't realise.
They didn't realise, did they? No.
Well, here's a perfect example for you. Asbestos was a toothpaste.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
Asbestos was actually a toothpaste. It was in a variety of a lot of substances and a lot of stuff back in the 70s and 60s, but it was actually a toothpaste. And it was supposed to be touted as one of the best cleaning mechanisms for your teeth. No one knew the hazardous nature of asbestos until a lot of people started dying from asbestosis. It was they had it in. That's why it's so kind of even now it's like protective gear and protective equipment, because they've realised the damage it can do. Some of these particles can do, sort of thing. They're basically like mini needles.
Yeah, they're trying to educate pest controllers too, because we don't, but some pest controllers do restorations of loft spaces, etc. They may disturb asbestos.
It has to be specialist. Yeah, if you see any specialist, you're not allowed to touch it or go near it. It has to be done by a specialist. Because the thing is, the asbestos itself is like it's like needles, small little needles that will then get into your bloodstream, and it may not affect you, but somewhere down the line, those needles will then just basically break through certain capillaries and cause major damage to your bodies. So it may not happen there and then. It could be 30, 40 years down the line that it could do some damage to you. And that's why it's so dangerous. And that's why in some cases they'll just like, look, we can't get to it effectively or safely. We're just going to leave it there and block it off and hide it. And asbestosis it was crazy in what it was in because of its fire-rated properties. And it is a very good fire-rated material, but it's so hazardous now. We've realised how hazardous it is. But you'd never have thought asbestos as a toothpaste.
No, you wouldn't.
But back then it was. And that's the thing. You know, so it's the same, back then cyanide, it was just seen as a... Yeah. People had cyanide in bottles.
I know.
Some people actually, some people would put a little drop of cyanide onto their lips and would say it was the best thing ever to keep away illnesses.
Fucking crazy bastards.
It'd be a little drop and boop, that was it. They would say, they say, oh, they swear by it. It was crazy. Different tests, But then again, you think, in 15, 20 years' time, we'll be looking back and going, the hell was using this? Crazy. Vapes, perfect example.
I saw that one coming, vapes, to be honest.
Perfect example.
There's no way.
Well, I was a bit dubious of vapes.
What are you on about, Matt? What about vapes?
Vapes, they're potentially finding there's problems with vapes now.
Oh well, the main problem with vapes is lithium ion in general is there's a lithium ion epidemic. I've got a client who deals in the fire industry, specifically also with aiding lithium-ion, and you can't put out a lithium-ion fire with a normal fire extinguisher. It will blow up more. No. It's an epidemic. People don't realise the serious dangers of lithium-ion batteries, and that's what's in the vapes.
Vape. Well, there is, but to be fair, it's not the lithium-ion that's the danger. It's the actual vape itself.
Oh,
it's the actual. That itself, they said, it's the moisture content. Ironically, is actually damaging people's lungs.
Have they actually proved it? They need a 50-year study.
They're doing the tests as it speak, but from the initial data, it doesn't look good. So basically, but then again, what they didn't, people are using it in ways they weren't expecting. So the idea of a vape was that it was supposed to be short term, in a bid to help you kick off the smoking habit.
Yeah, people are starting off with it.
Using the vapes. What's happening now is people are just basically transitioned from smoking to vapes.
Yep. Yeah. And they've usually got it in their mouth longer than they would have had a cigarette in their mouth.
Exactly. Because there's also, you've got these fruity flavors, and of course that's now going to the kids, and the kids are having problems and stuff like that. So it was only really there as like a short-term solution. But of course, because the way it is, people didn't
the
realise.
big tobacco company got involved, and they've all got shares in the big vape companies or own them. They're all in on it. They are.
Oh yeah, it's everything was in moderation. It has to be with everything with moderation. And the irony is, it's also a lot of people don't realise is that a lot of the stuff that's bad for you is all to do with your genetic code. So you could be someone who's 70, 80, been smoking for 70 years, 60 years, won't affect you. You could be someone who's 20 and had about a year's worth of smoke, and it's completely fucked your lungs up. It's all about your DNA and what affects you in some cases, and it's quite your DNA plays a lot more than people realize. And the same thing with weight loss and weight gain. Your DNA is more responsible for a lot of things than people realize, and you're kind of just trying to micromanage a lot of it. Predisposition.
Yeah. Predisposition.
Position. I think, is it predisposition? Predisposition? It is, I think so.
I'm saying it in a different way in my head, but when I say it out loud, it's not coming out quite right.
Dispersed?
Disposed.
Oh, predisposed. Yes. I got you. Yes. Yeah, I think that's the correct term. Yeah. It's crazy about your body sort of thing.
I'm curious about anything where there's tons of ingredients that aren't ratified by the FDA, and especially words that I can't pronounce. Then yeah, you should be dubious.
It's true. It's
doesn't matter what it is.
Oh, we're not live on X no more.
Makes no difference to me.
Oh no.
Talking of live,
it's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah,
for me.
Thanks everyone.
I think X only has a certain number. I think it's only like 2 hours anyway.
Yeah, I think it said 2 hours, but I could have set it for longer, but I didn't anticipate that. So next time, I'll just set it for 2.5 hours in case. I will. So, right then. Thanks everyone that's joined on X and YouTube and listens after on the podcast networks. I appreciate you listening. We are back, and I will hopefully have played some games by this time next week, so we can talk about some more games. But I might.
I'm reviewing a couple, so it's all right.
Yeah, or watch some Asian dramas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thanks.
What was it called again that you was looking at? It was VJ was the.
I've been watching Uncanny Counter.
Uncanny Counter. Okay, yeah. Send me that just in case, because I'll forget about it.
As in the Uncanny X-Men.
But yeah, thanks VJ for coming on.
Sure, no problem, sir. Thanks.
It was good to have you back on. It's been too long, but we'll be back weekly now. We will.
He says that.
We will see. We'll see. I'm sure we'll be fine. And I would say follow VJ on X, but he's probably not bothered if you do. It's in the show notes though if you want to follow VJ on X. And Removable, thanks for coming on.
Much appreciated. Thanks you again for having me on. It's always good to catch up with everybody, especially to those in the chat. Much appreciated for coming up and having a chat with us. Definitely Masuko, because I know he's there in the background, watching, listening, painting.
He is.
Eating, more like it.
No painting. He does a lot of painting.
Painting and eating.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Eating, definitely. But we've seen a lot of his painting. His lovely painting on X. So keep an eye on that. But no, thank you very much, Mr. Stubz and VJ. Always a good chat.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Where do you want people to find you?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is how I've completely forgotten it. You can find me on X, YouTube, Minds, Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute, all under the name of RemovableSanity.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been fun. And we'll see
you
all.
Stubz, where can we find you?
You can find me on X. I have a blue tick now. You can tell it's me. You could anyway, to be fair. You can find me on YouTube at Stubz Gaming, at Rumble, Stubz Gaming. I'll fix that for next week. And I'll have some videos to play next week on the stream.
And are you linked with any particular company or website?
Oh, yeah. I've put the wrong overlay on. And we are partnered with GamerHub. Great little website dedicated to great reviews and news. And next week I will put the correct overlay on. I've got one with GamerHub on, but I've put the wrong one up.
Well, it was on the top. It was on the thumbnail, so we'll let you off.
It's on the thumbnail, yeah. So
yeah.
Anyway, thanks everyone, and I'll just say we'll probably see you next week. I will. All right, then. Thanks everyone. See you soon.